Popular imagination pictures the executive branch as a committee. We see the president sitting with 15 cabinet secretaries, hashing out problems like a corporate board of directors. History suggests a much lonelier process. When Abraham Lincoln gathered his cabinet to discuss the Emancipation Proclamation, he informed them of his intent rather than asking for a vote. Their presence was a formality for a decision he had already finalized. Other presidents ignored these official advisors entirely. Andrew Jackson relied on a kitchen cabinet of personal friends, and John F. Kennedy appointed secretaries of defense and the Treasury whom he had never even met before their nomination. These cabinet secretaries hold the most famous titles in government, yet they are frequently sidelined when the real choices are made. If the official advisors are kept at a distance, the question remains, who actually has the president's ear? The friction starts with the Constitution. Because the Senate must confirm presidential nominees, a straightforward hire becomes a highly public partisan gauntlet. This requirement forces presidents to treat appointments as a balancing act. They must satisfy geographic interests, ensure demographic diversity, and the approval of powerful industries. A labor secretary needs union support. A treasury secretary needs the banking community's confidence. This confirmation process can quickly turn hostile. Chuck Hagel narrowly secured his defense secretary position after Senate opponents spent weeks attacking his record on Iran, Israel, and troop levels. Cabinet secretaries serve multiple masters. Career bureaucrats, congressional committees, and special interest groups exert pressure that runs counter to the president's orders. These divided loyalties trigger infighting. When departments clash, the resulting confusion can paralyze the president's entire agenda. The cabinet is an advisory body built with inherent structural friction. To govern effectively, presidents eventually built a workaround designed for absolute control. The system reached a breaking point during the Great Depression. As the federal government rapidly expanded to manage the economic crisis, the scale of new programs and agencies began to outpace the president's ability to monitor them. Franklin D. Roosevelt and his small staff of assistants were physically overwhelmed. They lacked the manpower to gather information or ensure their decisions were actually being carried out by the massive new bureaucracy. The solution arrived with the Reorganization Act of 1939. It created the Executive Office of the President, or EOP, a centralized management machine built to help the chief executive organize and direct the sprawling federal government. The EOP uses the Office of Management and Budget to maintain authority. The OMB acts as a central valve, reviewing agency spending and forcing departmental budgets into alignment with the president's specific priorities. The EOP applies this same centralized grip to foreign policy. Through the National Security Council, the president forces coordination across military and intelligence agencies that might otherwise operate in silos. The creation of the EOP allowed power to migrate away from slow, massive departments and into a specialized, highly responsive management hub. Within that hub sits a more private layer, the White House office. Operating out of the West Wing, this group manages the day-to-day operations of the presidency with total discretion. Unlike the cabinet, top White House staff are chosen without Senate confirmation. This ensures the president's most frequent advisors are selected based on personal loyalty and shared vision alone. The White House Chief of Staff sits at the center of this circle. They supervise the entire operation, serving as the president's primary advisor and ultimate gatekeeper. This role functions as an information filter. The Chief of Staff controls physical access to the Oval Office and determines which documents reach the president's desk, shielding the executive from outside noise. By removing the hurdles of Senate oversight and physical distance, the White House office became the president's true, uncompromised brain trust. Today, the majority of policymaking happens centrally inside the West Wing. The massive executive agencies often find themselves executing plans that were already finalized by a small group of White House staffers. This concentration of power depends on secrecy. To keep internal deliberations from becoming public, presidents invoke a legal protection known as executive privilege. Executive privilege gives the president the ability to shield internal communications and records from the legislative and judicial branches. It is a tool used by modern administrations to protect the privacy of their inner circle's advice. In Washington, the formal organizational chart is frequently a distraction. Influence follows absolute loyalty and immediate physical access to the Oval Office.